What if you could be a superhero? Dave here from DC On Screen. If you love this show and you want to see it continue and thrive, please be sure to visit iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star written review. The process is faster than a speeding bullet. You don't even have to wear tights or a cape. I mean, you can, if you're into that kind of thing. No judgment. What's important is that you tell the world what you like about the show and why you think they should be listening too. It really does go a long way in helping our show grow and expand, pushing us into more people's eye and ear holes. That was a weird way to put that. By the way, leaving a 5-star written review gets you entered into a drawing to win a free DC trade paperback, DVD, or Blu-ray valued at $15 or less. 1 in 10 will win and will be chosen through a true number generator on random.org. Think of it as our version of that antiquated sexist moment where the superhero saves the girl and she gives him a little jaw sugar. Alright, begging is over. Time for a brand new episode of DC On Screen. Welcome in to DC On Screen, episode 321. I'm your host, David C. Robertson, and this is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
Today we are getting super spoilery on Arrow 513, Spectre of the Gun. To recap, in the spirit of CW's flashbacks this week, we take a look at Rene to see what created the wild dog we've come to know. There's also a lot of talk about gun laws, but here's what happened. In the present, Oliver is faced with a gun rights dilemma as a madman infiltrates City Hall, killing several people and injuring many others. It comes to bear that his rage is over a gun registry bill that didn't get passed and the fact that his family was needlessly gunned down shortly after the bill died. In the wake of the City Hall incident, Mayor Queen has to spend his time tracking down this domestic terrorist, while also talking with opposition city council members about how to draft a bill that will satisfy both sides of this debate. Team Arrow does track down the terrorist, but it's Mayor Queen who talks him down and submits him to custody. With the help of Rene, who has been appointed Assistant Deputy Mayor to Lance, Oliver works up a bill that apparently protects everyone's rights and opinions. In the flashbacks, we learn that Rene once had a wife and a young daughter, but the wife was a recovering addict who got in a little deep. After returning with his daughter from a hockey game, Rene finds his wife held at gunpoint over a few $100s of IOU drug money. Rene tries to get in the box with his gun in it, and does, but the dying drug dealer kills his wife with an incidental blow. Having been dishonorably discharged, Rene isn't allowed a firearm, and in the aftermath of the event, his child is taken from him. He pleads with Child Protective Services, but to no avail. In the present, having learned of the situation, Curtis swears to help him get his daughter back. Meanwhile, Felicity is still using her illegally acquired database and Diggle talks Dinah into getting a real apartment and putting some roots down.
Yeah. This is new, right? It came up before, like LV-14. I don't recall the show ever having a 14 rating.
I didn't even notice.
I don't. Thing is, I can just go back and watch a previous episode, but it struck me as like I'm not sure I've ever actually seen it get rated 14. I thought it usually gets rated a little below that. But maybe it was just too damn gunny. I loved early on in the episode. Felicity says, "And we're not talking about that ever again." And then just like the rest of the episode is just nothing but gun rights conversations. Like there's no way the show didn't piss several people off this week.
I thought they did a good job of being on both sides of it.
I know. I thought they did a good job of kind of getting everybody's point across, but the problem is it's an issue some people feel so strongly about that there's probably a few people hopped off the board and I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Screw this.
Best thing about this episode.
It's just a very polarizing topic.
It is a polarizing topic, but it does feel like one of those 1980s very special episodes.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Especially since here's the thing I loved. When Curtis is talking to Felicity and he's because she's still like, don't talk about this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, there used to be a time, or he says, people used to be able to talk about things and disagree and still respect each other afterward. And he cites that as being what's wrong with this country. It's become impolitic to talk politics. And I love that.
Yeah.
That was so good.
That was. And Well, he told there's nothing wrong with a little debate, healthy debate, Felicity. Him or Curtis, I can't remember. I think it's Curtis he's talking to here.
Yeah.
And she says, it's not healthy if it doesn't accomplish anything, and it's not going to accomplish anything. Which is another fine point.
I don't think it's a fine point.
It's actually a decent point in favor of never talking politics.
I don't think it's a fine point because you never know, what your point is going to change in someone else.
Yeah,
you never know what that person's going to go on and change.
Yeah. Or you never know when you're going to enter one of these arguments and come out, thinking differently yourself.
Right. But that's that point that people used to be able to talk about things and disagree and still respect each other afterwards. That was like my big shining moment of the episode because that's the way I feel. Like I think social media has kind of destroyed that in a lot of ways. Like if you don't agree with you don't agree with me, you're Hitler.
Yeah, it's gotten,
no, you're a child. You're a child.
It's gotten very reactionary.
Now the thing that really bothered me is
there's an effect of all that's happening. By the way, it's kind of neat. But
what's that?
There is a reason that's happening. It's kind of neat and kind of unprecedented. Like. Because of the way humans communicated previously based on geography largely, and as we've gone into the internet, there's a new effect that's happened where you communicate with whoever you want based on more ideology than geography. Mm-hmm. The problem is that now it creates these little circles. So you get in this like bubble of other people that understand your ideology, and people are losing the ability to have that conversation, and like you used to work on an assembly line and work next to somebody that maybe had the opposite political thoughts as you, but you could talk, and then you sat there and finished out the day together and said, have a good night.
Yeah.
We don't have that as much anymore. We're like atrophying that muscle.
It's sad.
It's probably going to be a very self-destructive tendency. It's my personal bet.
Mm-hmm. So, my big problem with the episode, as much as I love that bit with Curtis is the weak point of the episode for me because it feels like he just suddenly decided to start having a problem with guns. Because, like, pretty much every night he's running around with Wild Dog as Wild Dog is, like, shooting people with guns.
Yeah, it almost seemed like he wanted to have that conversation more as sport. Like, he just wanted to talk about it.
A little bit.
Like, he just wanted to have a debate, because it's kind of fun to debate these things. And, like, it's way too deep for Rene. But see, I like where they've gotten, like, Rene and Curtis have awesome chemistry right now, because over the last few episodes, they've had these little, humanizing moments between each other. Mm-hmm. Like when Curtis finally figures out what happened to him, what happened to Renee's wife and daughter and everything, and like he vows to help him see his kid again, and so help me, Curtis is going to help him find his kid again. I completely believe him. Oh man,
yeah.
Rene did a great job with that. A lot of these scenes, he did a wonderful job this week. But he really got to me with the like, I can get counseling. I just want to see my daughter. Yeah. And then that like stunned look on his face. And, oh, please don't hang up. Oh, he got me this week, man. It was a good scene.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, overall though, I was impressed with this episode. Like, even like, Lance is like, yeah, well, speaking as a cop, we wish some of these other people wouldn't have guns. And then like the other cop in the room kind of walks up. Nope, sorry. I liked that they actually gave size to a lot of different people, even if Curtis's didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. God, even like Ollie talking to the councilwoman where she's pulling out abortion and freedom of speech. He's like, wait, there are limitations on that. Shut up. That was good.
Shut that right down. I like this little, I liked how he opened it up. It's like, because you and I are going to sit in this office until we figure out a reasonable set of limitations that respects everyone's rights. And I thought, good luck. You're going to defeat 200 years of civil unrest with a conversation. Go for it, bud.
And apparently they do it. I don't know.
Yeah, and then they come up with this like
how.
Unicorn leaping over a leprechaun freaking legislation. Uh-huh. Yeah, no way. It's yeah. This is one of those where we will never see any details of anything that just happened.
No.
It's just no way.
I liked everything leading up to that almost. Like, I thought maybe it was going to be something like, we're going to make sure this, we're going to figure this out. And then, like, maybe we hear about it over the next few episodes of them, like, still working on it. And then come back to it next season where they're still working on it. Or either that or kick Ollie out of office so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. But he tried, at least.
Yeah.
No.
I knew exactly how that was going to go down. Because there's no other way. They had done this debate from, got a lot of angles. Definitely not every angle, but they definitely took on, they weren't myopic at all about it. And they had to wrap it up. I mean, they had to wrap it up this episode, I think. They weren't going to take gun debate into like a season arc, like a mini arc. Shouldn't be like gun control debates. So yeah, it's I knew it was going to happen, and I knew that you wouldn't be able to get any details because you can pull all those viewpoints out, but if you gave us any details in the final thing, you'd have to be declaring which one you thought was right. And there's no way the show gets away with that.
And it seemed like throughout the episode they were still going, they both have good points.
Yeah.
So, because again, a show like this doesn't want to piss anybody off.
No.
Not for real.
No.
I mean, as much as you can not piss someone off by having your good guys running around with, like, you know.
Oh, wait, actually, I wrote down exactly
guns.
how they phrase it. No harder to buy, own, or carry, but doesn't hurt people trying to protect themselves. I was like, well, fucking that says nothing. But yeah, I do. This act, I do think is going to backfire on him. I think they're going to like find part of his arsenal is not covered by his own gun act.
Maybe.
Lance will have to kind of like go after him, but not really. Or I guess Lance and Rene will have to go after him. By the way, Rene's got a new job. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I'm sort of like against Curtis at the end of this thing when he's like, let's get your daughter back. I'm like, you think that's a good idea?
I mean, at least get him.
At
least get him some visitation rights.
He just had like an illegal Glock sitting up in there in the mayor's office there.
Because like you know, Daddy shoots people a lot these days.
He runs around in the streets shooting people.
Yeah.
He got kidnapped for like 3 weeks that time and was like beaten up a lot. Almost died.
Like a lot. All the time. Just visitation. Yeah. Just visitation. And two things I love there at the end of the episode. Lance tells him, I think this is a job for Oliver Queen. And it was cool. It was a good scene, him talking the guy down. Just a good scene. Nothing else I can really put a pin on there. But another aspect of this I love, back in that scene where he's saying, like, I just want to see my daughter, he sees, like, early footage of the Arrow on TV, and that's apparently what inspires him to go fight back.
Well, not really early. It was of him killing Damien Dark.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot we keep reusing that Damien Dark footage. But, like, yeah, that was apparently what inspired him. And it was a neat tweet. Good touch.
All right, so Vigilantes seem pretty spry for having just been shot. You think there's a possibility he's not Adrian?
Nah, I think he's just plucky.
Or do you think Vigilante's a different guy? And Adrian has a wife here. Adrian's wife was in the hospital with him.
Maybe they tag team or something?
I mean, I'm wondering if, like, Adrian's wife doesn't get shot down, the guy that was Vigilante, like, maybe they take him in, and all of his stuff is in, like...
Oh, and he takes over the mantle?
The evidence lockup, and he takes over the mantle, yeah.
That could work. I just think right now he probably like, took a painkiller and went out and did one quick little scene and got back in.
Maybe.
What does he tell him? Like, I'm just you with better weapons?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I couldn't read my own note there for a second. It's Oliver in the press conference when they're asking questions about, like, don't you think you owe the families an answer? And he says, I do owe it to them. I don't owe it to any of you, and walks off. Yeah.
I loved this episode, how annoyed she was with Oliver. Just like, oh, man, really? Like, okay, he's got a job now here. Okay, cool. And you're sleeping with who? Why?
Why? Oh, they've been working with Dinah and Dinah and Diggle have been talking. Yeah, and Dinah's got this little line in there. I forget what they're even talking about, but she's talking to John and she says, like, it's just stupid. Like, she doesn't want to tell him something. It's like, just stupid. And he tells her, Dinah, I work with Oliver Queen. Please try me.
That was fun.
Yeah. Those two have been fun on screen. Like, fun enough on screen that I kind of keep forgetting he has a family. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm sure they're not setting that up. Never mind.
Yep. I had that reaction. Also had that reaction when he was hanging out with Rene, though. So I was like, oh, kiss him. Oh, no, wait.
Wait, whole family back there. Never mind. Nary you mind.
So, Bertinelli got killed, I think, this episode.
I'm not sure how that went. There was like a Bertinelli name drop.
Yeah, they name dropped a Bertinelli, which makes me feel like they're angling for Helena to come back.
It just seems like we would have seen that show up somewhere in the news. I mean, they could. They're not done filming. Got plenty of time.
Well, they did mention it a few weeks ago with TV Line.
Yeah.
Guggenheim said they were always looking for a way to bring her back.
Yeah, and they just left her kind of hanging there. I mean, there's no reason she can't come back. I did like her. I wouldn't mind seeing her again.
Yeah.
I only had one question really left.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see how this scene appeared to you. But
Okay.
the scene with Rene and his wife, the tragic accidental death, really.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rene's argument that if he had had a firearm, like a sidearm right then, that he would have been able to drop the guy, and there wouldn't have been that extra shot? I think that was the argument. Yeah. Because I mean, he does get to his gun, and he does, get in the military style position, drops the guy, but then that. Like, when the guy's arm falls, there's a discharge, and that's what actually kills his wife. So, I mean, is he just thinking if he'd had his sidearm on him like he wanted, could have just drew faster and killed him?
Yeah.
Which is true.
I think that's what, yeah, sure.
I mean, he should be able to outdraw, your average drug dealer.
I believe that was his argument, yeah.
Okay. Because it just looked like more of an accidental death than anything else in some ways. Mm-hmm. Tragic scene, though.
Did he always have those scars?
I don't know. Did he have him in the flashback?
He had him in the flashback, yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I would assume he'd have to. We still haven't seen him get discharged, though. So I'm assuming that's going to be a flashback at some point.
Oh, yeah. And I'm getting interested in his flashbacks now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of story on Wild Dog, apparently. It's not like it's not like you can do flashbacks of Curtis. Like, that time he was an Olympian, or that time he was highly lauded academically, or...
Right.
Flashback, it seems like in his previous life, like before he really got into this, it seems like a flashback for him would be like going to his favorite restaurant and they were out of his favorite item.
They totally should do that episode. It's like they just like all moody flashback, and he goes, sits down, is like, y'all have the Capri's blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, we're out of that. The Capri's flatbread. And he's like, I'm sorry, sir, we're out of that tonight. Oh,
yeah.
Whoosh.
They cut to another scene, and it's like him in his laundry room, and he pulls something out of his dryer and looks at it in astonishment and goes, I didn't put it on delicate. It's ruined. This was my favorite sweater. Drops to his knees. How did I not put it on delicate?
Paul just walks in. Dude.
You can buy another one. Oh, you're right. Okay.
I'd be down for that. And you know what? If these guys were like Whedon and Company, like we could totally see that episode.
That episode would happen. And the whole thing would be like it would be a funny episode where at the very end you saw how much he had changed. Or like you'd do that as part of the first half of the episode would be kind of front loaded with those little jokes, and then the second half of the episode would be when the action really kicks in. Thered be like some moment, whatever happens, where Mr. Terrific has to, put on his mean face and save the day and really kick some ass, and like not leave the field of battle being kind of the guy who got saved that day.
Yeah, or at the very least, fight some small group of people while in the background Team Arrow was saving the world.
Yeah. Oh, that's something they would do on in a Whedonverse easily. Is like you would see Team Arrow in the background like disarming a bomb, and in the foreground and the real focus of the scene would just be like Terrific versus one henchman.
I mean, they literally did that with Xander.
Yeah,
like it was like I don't remember who Xander was fighting. Zeppo, yeah. It was just like Xander fighting like two people, and then in the background you see like tentacles and the Scoobies like fighting with axes and stuff.
They get to the end of the episode, and like if I remember in that one, they get to the end of the episode and everyone's sitting around in like his magic shop or the library or wherever they are now, and they're like, "This is the greatest fight of our lives." They're looking at Giles and was like, "I don't even know how you did that. I don't know where it came from." Like they're just these cryptic mentions of like the greatest performance of human championing spirit that has ever been performed, and Xander's like, I beat up a guy. See me take out that guy. But the important part of that episode is like he leaves, and he doesn't leave feeling diminished at all by what they did. He leaves like, no, I did my thing. I beat up my guy. I did my job. Fuck yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm happy. I was part of the team. I did my part. Good. Anyway, yeah, they could do that. I'd love to see him do that with Mr. Terrific. Like they take out like 20 guys, and he takes out his one guy, but he's like, but I didn't get my ass kicked this week. And if anything, Rene would come over there and be like, man, I'm proud of you. Like, after knocking out 3 people and shooting 2 more, like, man, I'm proud of you. Good job. Thump, thump.
Yeah.
Pops one more guy.
So yeah, this is a pretty heavy episode this week. It was even, pretty rough when he tells the dude, the gunman guy, he's like, your family was killed by someone who purchased guns illegally.
Yeah.
Just like,
Has
oh, man.
nothing to do with the bill. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good scene. I didn't even bother writing anything down. Like, I didn't bother writing a quote. I was just like, man, that's just solid. That whole thing's just solid.
Yeah. It has its issues, has its problems, but
I did love Thea kind of coming back and going, oh my god, I should not have left.
yeah.
Just should not have left. That was maybe one of my favorite, like, side bits in the episode. I feel like she just, like, got home from work that day and had a couple drinks and thought, I'm never going to be able to leave these kids home again.
I think it worked out fine.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, but, you know.
Anyway, that's gonna do it. Pretty good episode. Sometimes not a great episode. You know, I think this may have been the best and worst episode of the season at the same time somehow.
I liked it. I didn't think it really had any true weak spots.
If anything, this is what I've been lobbying for. And oddly enough, they didn't really do it with Ollie himself. But in the books, Ollie was very, very, very liberal.
Yeah.
And they usually have him argue with Hawkman, who's very, very, very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And the Justice League would all stand around going, "Oh God,
won't you two please shut the hell up?"
And we have Felicity playing that role this week, and and Curtis and Rene going at it. So I don't know. I thought it was fun. It was a step in that direction, and I don't know. I'm interested to see where Arrow is going to continue to go because they've been good this season.
Yeah, has been absolutely solid. Like, what are we on? Episode what number was this? 13.
13, yeah.
What did that give us? Another 9? I want to say it was a 22 episode season.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'm never sure.
I'll take that. It'll be another 9-ish. I'm excited. Now, beware though. Weren't we still excited about Dark about this time last year?
Probably.
Because there was like a moment somewhere in the back half of the season we kind of kept going, all right, hold on now. What are you doing? Because it seemed to be good, and then they like lost control of what Dark could do. They were no longer in control of his powers.
Yeah, they didn't stick the landing.
They did not stick the landing, but they stuck Dark.
They did, and Laurel. I mean, that's not funny. No Laurel, no Arrow. Hashtag.
Yeah, I know. They're out there. We're hoping Dinah will win you over.
Anyway, we are DC On Screen. You can find every episode at dconscreen.com. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. Proud members of the Giant Size Team Up Network, giantsizesteamup.com. We're going to be coming back a couple days with a whole bunch of news. The Batman movie has flip-flopped again. Matt Reeves is not going to direct.
Yeah.
We told you guys last week that it was early talks. Everyone was reporting yes. We were reporting, probably not. I mean, early talks.
I mean, we even said, probably, but it's not there yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, so, until those episodes drop, keep some DC on your screen.